What Really Happened to Buffy Sainte-Marie? Sainte-Marie was born in 1941 on the Piapot 75 Reserve in the Qu'Appelle Valley, Saskatchewan, Canada. She was abandoned as an infant and then adopted by Albert and Winifred Sainte-Marie, a Wakefield, Massachusetts couple of Micmac descent. She attended the University of Massachusetts Amherst, earning degrees in teaching and Oriental philosophy and graduating in the top 10 of her class. In 1964, on a return trip to the Piapot Cree Reserve in Canada for a powwow, she was welcomed and adopted by the youngest son of Chief Piapot, Emile Piapot, and his wife, Clara Star Blanket Piapot, who added to St. Mary's cultural value and place in Native culture. In 1968, she married surfing teacher Dwayne Bugbee of Hawaii. They divorced in 1971. She married Sheldon Wolfchild from Minnesota in 1975. They have a son, Dakota Cody Star Blanket Wolfchild. That union also ended in divorce. She married her co-writer for Up Where We Belong, Jack Nitzsche, on March 19, 1982. He died from a heart attack on August 25, 2000. As of 2007, she lives in Hawaii. Although not a Baha'i herself, she became an active friend of the Baha'i faith and has appeared at concerts, conferences, and conventions of that religion. In 1992, she appeared in the musical event Prelude to the Baha'i World Congress, a double-concert live unity, The Sound of the World in 1992 with video broadcast and documentary. In the video documentary of the event, Sainte-Marie is seen on The Deanie Petty Show explaining the Baha'i teaching of progressive revelation. She also appears in the 1985 video Mona with the Children by Douglas John Cameron. However, while she supports a universal sense of religion, she does not subscribe to any particular religion. Sainte-Marie plays piano and guitar, self-taught in her childhood and teen years. In college, some of her songs, Ananias, The Indian Lament, Now That the Buffalo's Gone and Mayor Stowe Hoon was already in her repertoire. By 1962, in her early 20s, she was touring alone, developing her craft and performing in various concert halls, folk music festivals, and First Nations reservations across the United States, Canada, and abroad. She spent a considerable amount of time in the coffeehouses of downtown Toronto's Old Yorkville district, and New York City's Greenwich Village as part of the early to the mid- and 1960s folk scene, often alongside other emerging Canadian contemporaries, such as Leonard Cohen, Neil Young, and Joni Mitchell. In 1963, recovering from a throat infection, Sainte-Marie became addicted to codeine, and recovering from the experience became the basis of her song Codeine, later covered by Donovan, Janis Joplin, The Charlatans, Quicksilver Messenger Service, Man, The Litter, The Leaves, Jimmy Gilmer, Graham Parsons, Charles Brutus McClay, The Barracudas, The Golden Horde, Nicole Atkins, and Courtney Love. Also in 1963, she witnessed wounded soldiers returning from the Vietnam War at a time when the U.S. government was denying involvement, which inspired her protest song, Universal Soldier, which was released on her debut album, It's My Way on Vanguard Records in 1964, and later became a hit for both Donovan and Glenn Campbell. She was subsequently named Billboard magazine's Best New Artist. Some of her songs addressing the mistreatment of Native Americans, such as Now That the Buffalo's Gone and My Country 'Tis of Thy People You're Dying, created controversy at the time. She appeared on Pete Seeger's Rainbow Quest with Pete Seeger in 1965 and several Canadian television productions from the 1960s to the 1990s, and other TV shows such as American Bandstand, Soul Train, The Johnny Cash Show, and The Tonight Show starring Johnny Carson, and sang the opening song The Circle Game in Stuart Hagman's film The Strawberry Statement. Then came Bronson, Episode 20 Mating Dance for Tender Grass sang and acted. In the late 1960s, she used a Buchla synthesizer to record the album Illuminations, which did not receive much notice. It was the first totally quadraphonic electronic vocal album. In 1979, Spirit of the Wind, featuring Sainte-Marie's original musical score, including the song Spirit of the Wind, was one of 3 entries that year at the Cannes Film Festival. In the early 1980s, one of her native songs was used as the theme song for the CBC's native series Spirit Bay. She was cast for the TNT 1993 telefilm The Broken Chain. It was shot entirely in Virginia. In 1989 she wrote and performed the music for Where the Spirit Lives, a film about Native children being abducted and forced into residential schools. Sainte-Marie voiced the Cheyenne character, Kate Bighead, in the 1991 made-for-TV movie Son of the Morning Star, telling the Indian side of the Battle of the Little Bighorn, where Lieutenant Colonel George Custer was killed. In 1992, after a 16-year recording hiatus, Sainte-Marie released the album Coincidence and Likely Stories. Also in 1992, Sainte-Marie appeared in the television film The Broken Chain with Wes Studi and Pierce Brosnan along with First Nations Baha'i Phil Lucas. Her next album followed up in 1996 with Up Where We Belong, an album on which she re-recorded a number of her greatest hits in more unplugged and acoustic versions, including a re-release of Universal Soldier. In 2002, a track written and performed by Sainte-Marie, titled Lazarus, was sampled by hip-hop producer Kanye West and performed by Cameron and Jim Jones of The Diplomats. The track is called Dead or Alive. In June 2007, she made a rare U.S. appearance at the Clearwater Festival in Croton-on-Hudson, New York. In 2017, she released the single You Got to Run, a collaboration with fellow Polaris Music Prize laureate Tanya Tagaq. The song was inspired by George Atla, a champion dog sled racer from Alaska.